What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today is September the 12th. Happy Friday, everyone. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money's really focusing on. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So as far as data points for today, Michigan consumer sentiment, that's going to be the big one coming out at 9 a.m. So shortly after the market does open. But given what came out associated to PPI and also CPI, I feel like this, even if it does come in flat or a little bit lower, the market's not really going to care. And as I've mentioned on many videos leading up to this week, the market generally cares and Powell cares about more labor-linked data. This is why last week was a big deal for potentially rate cuts. And this is why we have 25 basis points on the table. But a lot of this inflationary data, Powell's not really too concerned about, so that won't change the dynamic of the 25 or potentially even in October for those cuts. That is anticipated at least. This would change kind of people's perception of the market. And with the PPI and CPI coming out better than anticipated, this, I feel like people aren't really going to care. So I think it's going to be a pretty strong week. This might cause a little bit of volatility, but I think generally people now know that rate cuts are coming and it's going to be a buy the dip type of scenario. So I don't really see this being that big of a deal. Forecast right now is 57. So that is a little bit on the low end considering 58.2 was the previous. So like I said, that's something to watch for, but I don't really see it being that big of a deal. Futures right now are down somewhat, a little bit mixed. Dow is down 0.2, S&P down 0.05, and NASDAQ is up 0.05. So not really much going on. We are seeing a little bit lower volume though during this pre-market. So I think just people have done, like, this whole week has been pretty kick-ass, mind you. So I think just generally people are just now sitting back and relaxing, possibly waiting for this data to be positive, then just buy the hell out of it. But what do I know in life? Currently, the Fear and Greed Index is under the neutral category. I completely feel like this is broken because almost every stock is in the green, even yesterday. So this should be most likely high greed or kind of low extreme greed, meaning people's appetite for risk is on the table. This is broken in my opinion. But getting right to it, SoFi is up 0.42%. No news, no SEC filings, but then again, they like to put out news at 9 a.m. So kind of outside of my pre-market videos. But I think on a technical standpoint, SoFi is really ready to move higher. 840 or 8.45% of the free float is being shorted. So shorts haven't really been doing too much. Overall, the trend is still lower that they've been returning. So I think they're finally starting to smarten up. But with today being Friday and manipulation and whatever else, just kind of watch for the hold numbers, and that would be associated to options. So we have 26, 26.50 and so forth. And what I'll do is I'll give you a quick overview of that. So quickly going over here, this is NIO, so don't mind that. I'll quickly change this to SoFi just to give you a good example of this. Side note, I guess I'm going to be talking about SoFi or NIO in this video as well because it's getting a lot of volume, but this is the open interest. So you have 12,000 at the 26, 13,000 at the 26.50, and then 19,000 at that 27. So potentially by the second half of the day, if SoFi is close to one of these strike prices, you might see shorts wake up a little bit, but all depends, I think, on their appetite for risk, because I think it'd be kind of crazy to double down to try to suppress SoFi at this stage in the game. But a couple of things to kind of take note of though, with it at 26.04 during the pre-market, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 25.96 is going to be a strong kind of pivot and a support level that you really want to watch for it to hold. Over the last couple of trading days, it's always seems to gravitate towards this 25.96 for whatever reason. So today is going to be most likely that make it or break it type of thing, whether it closes above that or below. But aside from that, 26.50 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, which potentially could be on the table for today, dependent once the market does open and how much momentum is there. Flip side, 25.10 is going to be the next strong support, and I don't see that being on the table. So today the big one is going to be kind of whether it closes above or below that R1 of 25.96. Moving on from here, ticker is GCTK. So it is up 130%, although over the last 1 year, it is down 99.86%, market cap being 4.3 million. So tread lightly with this one, but the reason why they are up this morning is it looks like they entered into a purchase deal, and this company right here is going to be buying up to 20 million of common stock. And also it looks like there's some intraday purchases, so 5 or 3 different occasions they can buy up to 1 million. So interesting stuff. I don't really see this being that big of a deal because essentially this is dilution. And yeah, I don't know. Normally, I guess the bar is set very, very low for this stock, and this is why it's going higher. So again, tread very cautiously. 11.26% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 95,000 shares. So you might have some people starting to chatter about this being a squeeze play, because that's kind of what the market likes to squeeze, somewhat heavily shorted and low float. So again, do your own due diligence. But generally, from what we can see, shorts did double down recently, went from around 1% short interest, and that was the last week of August, to a peak of 24%. So shorts are rather active, so most likely today they will be rather active as well. With it at 1120, it's above all the key fib levels, so again, even more reason just to do your own due diligence and tread cautiously. NIO. So NIO is up 0.49%, piggybacking off of the good momentum yesterday. As far as official news, there hasn't really been anything. They did put this out right here. So the configuration for the ES8 3rd gen, and it goes over some deposits and whatever else. But I think generally with NIO, the market really appreciated these new models. So NIO went up significantly higher than anticipated with the L90. So generally, I think the market kind of likes these types of updates. As far as shorts goes, 11.36% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 175.23 million shares overall are being shorted. NIO shorts, they love to play random games. I don't really understand the big picture sometimes, because even yesterday, the main reason why NIO did really move higher was because of a analyst rating, but that did prompt shorts to return 17 million shares. Why? I'm not really sure. So maybe today is going to be another day that they just return a significant amount, start to clear house possibly. I'm not really sure. So when it comes down to manipulation and NIO, it goes hand in hand. DTC though is 2.54 days. So that does signal that shorts are very overextended with NIO. Right now during the pre-market with it at 609, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 589 is going to be that strong support. Potentially could be touched dependent on how things play out. And then 617 and then 644 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. In my opinion, maybe I'm just optimistic, but I do feel like this pivot point will be touched and potentially broken and staying above this. Maybe not that 644, but at least at 617. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Opendoor. So this one, it's been a crazy stock. It did go up 79.52% yesterday. It is pulling back, but then again, that is absolutely normal. Anyone saying otherwise is completely wrong. Any stock running up like 30%, let alone almost 80%, you're going to have a certain level of profit taking. That is just absolutely normal. But I think in general, a lot of people are still digesting a lot of the recent news. So CEO got the good pay package and everything. And so I think people are just now waiting for like what is coming next? What is the CEO going to be doing? But as far as it pulling back, I do feel like it is rather normal. Shorts though, they will be rather active. And so you can kind of see it went from about 23% short interest, and that was September the 8th, to where it is now. So shorts are very reactive to the stock price, although they've been losing a ton of money. Still something to keep in mind. 25.02% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 164 million shares overall being shorted. And given everything that has happened with Opendoor, it's above all the key fib levels, so just kind of watch for a lot of the hold numbers and so forth. And then last but not least, Big Bear, ticker BBAI. Pleasantly surprised to actually see it on here. I always used to bring this up during my pre-market video when it was running up like in June and July. Since then, it's kind of diminished. It's very rarely been on the kind of top 10 most pre-market heavily traded. So it's good to see it on here. Why it's on here is because of this. So BBAI accelerates US arrivals at Nashville International Airport. So good stuff. So yeah, do your own due diligence, of course, but 19.44% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 71.4 million shares overall being shorted. So generally shorts have returned from that peak in July of about 31% short interest to where it is now at that 19.4. DTC 0.63 days. So it kind of signals that shorts aren't really overextended. So again, something to just keep in mind. But overall, I think a lot of people could really take this and run with it and just say, hey, you know what, it's heavily shorted, let's squeeze it for whatever reason. Currently with it at 522 though, it is trading between this R3 and this R2. 514 is going to be a strong support, followed by 506, and then 528 followed by 563 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. So as far as today, just watch for that 528. So let me know your thoughts on BBAI. What stocks are you watching today? And if there's anything of interest, throw some tickers in the description below. I can definitely look at it. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you are looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. I put out numerous swing trades every single week, daily day trades, and they've all been on point. So worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.